Hi everybody, Jo here again. How are you doing? Now, a little bit of crafty time today, and I thought we'd look at the Lavinia challenge. The winner is chosen at random and you can win a £40 voucher. Anyway, the theme for October is All Hallows Eve. So we have got so many fabulous stamps and stencils, and I'm sure you're going to come up with just the most amazing designs. So I've had a little play and come up with this one. Now I've used a larger piece of card just so I've got lots of nice white space around, but you could actually put this on a much smaller piece. Again, just take it as inspiration and let that lovely creativity flow. So if we look, it all starts off with a piece of art, and this is the A5. But as I say, if you want to do it a little bit smaller, by all means do. I just thought it would be nice because then I could show you. I really wanted to get this lovely combination of stamps and stencils. So it's using one of our new stencils, and then behind I've got one of our existing stencils, and I thought this is like flames. I'm thinking All Hallows Eve, Penelope, time to create. What's she going to create? Spells, magic. I mean, again, it's just great, isn't it, when your mind can just play. So if we start off with our piece of card, and the first stencil I'm going to use is from the Autumn Mist collection, and again we've got these lovely four, so I decided I would use this one. So I'll just file the others on the floor next to Mr. Eric, and the colour I'm going to use is Midnight Blue. So I'm going to pop my stencil sort of in the middle-ish, because do you know what, it's a hand-created design. And I'm going to start with my larger stencil brush. And did I tell you this is Midnight Blue? And I'm just going to get some basic colour on there, just with my large stencil brush. And then I'm going to come in with a number 3 brush and add a little bit more intensity of colour. I just find it's good to use the larger one first and just get that basic colour. And then come in with a smaller one and just gives me a little bit more depth, especially around the edges, look, and you can get into all the little nooks and crannies. So I tend to go all the way around the outside first, and then just these bits here, and then I tend to hold on to the middle, look, just in case it lifts up. It never has yet, but you know me, belt and braces, just in case. Just blend that colour. Right, I want this side a bit darker. So again, this number 3 is great just for getting in these dark places. Right, happy with that. So we'll pop that over there, and then I'm going to come in and stamp our lovely Penelope. And I'm using the back view. So there's two, there's the side view, and I'm just going to use the Nocturne, so just the black VersaFine Clair ink. And I'm going to position her just like, you see in my head, this is a cave, and she's going in to that cave. And she's going to create in that cave. Now, what I have done is cut myself an aperture just in a piece of copy of paper. I just put my stencil on, drew round it, and I'm going to put this on because I've got the lovely fairy web. And again, if you use your acetate, and I'm thinking that'll look lovely there. So, again, nice light tapping with the black ink, and I'll just hold that. And yes, I will keep this piece of copy of paper because I might just need another circle. I might do another design like this. And there, we've just got it sort of in that cave. Now, it might be And I'm just going to put one of our lovely ravens on the top. Now, you know, it might be the flitter mice, those hanging bats. Maybe you want to add one of those. We've got the lovely bug set. But I know some of you don't like spiders. So I thought, you know what, I'm not going to add a spider. But what I am going to do is add one of our lovely pumpkins, the ickle pumpkins. And I'm just going to pop that here. But also, I'm going to stamp one on an extra piece of card. You know, on those little bits that you keep. Because we do, don't we? We all keep every little bit. But whether we use it or not, that's another matter. So I'm going to give that a good blot. Again, remember, VersaFine clay, slower drying ink. Right, so let's move these to one side. And then I'm going to come in with our lovely stencil. And this one is called Charming. And as I say, I just thought it looked like flames. And I thought, oh, I could work on that. So I'm going to pop it about there. And I'm going to use Paprika near as sort of like the red. Then going into Russet Orange. And then a little bit of Sahara. So what I tend to do is take the lids off. So I've got them all ready. So I can keep one hand on my stencil here. And I don't really want it in the middle. Now you can put a mask on if you want. I'm going to try and just remember to go around the edges. But who knows, you know what I'm like. So we'll start with the red. And again, I'm just going to blend the ink. Now I can go over the pumpkin, there's not a problem there, because obviously I've decoupaged, I've cut and stamped another one. So I can go right over that, not a problem. So we're going to add some fiery flames. It's not easy to say that, you know, all the way around there. And then into the orange, again blending in the lid. And I'm just sort of going to go over that red and just blend some lovely orange. I'm going to come into this corner. And I just want to have a little look. Oh, look at that, love that. And then last of all, with a little bit of Sahara, just to blend at the very edges. And again, I'm going to spritz that. And when I add that into my journal, look, I've got a space there and it'll give flames round and I can stamp something in the middle. That is going to be fabulous. In fact, I tell you what, have we got a spare piece of card? Because if you've not seen, and I know we have got, as I say, some lovely new followers. So if I put this here, rather than just telling you, so what happens is, when we spritz, I'm just going to water bottle, give it a few spritzes, and then just pop it on here, look. And what happens is, when you're wetting that ink, because it's a dye-based ink, so it reacts with water, what happens is you're re-reacting that ink, so it's going to move. So hopefully it'll lift off the stencil and onto your card. And it's a way of cleaning your stencil, but hopefully, oh yes, you'll get a lovely background as well. So if we lift that up, look at that. And there's probably enough on there to spritz it again and have another one, a lighter one, which will be almost a ghosting one. And look at that. And as it dries, I mean, I love these bits. Imagine that with some ink on, maybe stamping Penelope in the middle. So that's what we mean about cleaning your stencil. Right, back to this. So we've got that lovely sort of flames going round. Now it just looks a little bit sort of bare in the middle. So let's add a bit of atmosphere. So I'm going to come in with my moon mask. And just over here we'll give the idea. Now what I'm going to do, this is my Sahara brush, but I'm not going to add any more ink. There'll be enough on there just to give the idea, just to take the whiteness off in this cave and give the idea that the moon is there. And again, it's amazing how much is left on your brush. So we'll colour our pumpkin in. Now I have got one that I've already coloured and cut out, and the beauty of this is when you cut it out, look, you can cut it straight off there. Well, I do anyway, because what I do is with my lovely green pen, I'm just going to colour this and follow the swirls round on here. So to colour it in, I do that. Don't tell anyone that cheats colouring. So Mondelez pencils, and we've got 2, 3 and 170. And I'm just going to add a little bit of red just for a bit of depth at the base. And then come in with the orange and just go over that red because it'll just blend it nicely. And again, just give it some more shape. And then with the yellow, I'm going to go over that orange. And again, this just adds highlight, but also it will blend the colours. So I'm going over that orange and that red. So it blends the 3 colours together. And it just gives you a bit more dimension on your pumpkin, you know, rather than just doing it flat all orange. And at the end, I tend to have a look and just maybe see about adding a little bit more of the red. Again, you see how that just gives it nice depth. So we'll pop that over there. Now, again, this is nice, but if you look at the finished one, we just want to add a little bit more depth to the design and a little bit more detail. So that's where our lovely pastel pencils come in. And what I'm going to do is, I just want to check that you can see. First of all, with my white, I'm just going to add a little bit of highlight to Penelope's witch's hat. And then she's got this lovely flowing cloak on. And obviously the moon's this side, so it's going to catch this side. So when I'm smudging does 2 things. It tends to make it look a bit better, a bit sort of ethereal, but also it fixes the pastel. We don't need a spray fixative because we're not doing a larger piece of work. And again, I'm just going to add some just under his wing here. Just again, that nice magical. And then what I'm going to do with the black, just to make this look more like it's a cave look, I'm going to add some lovely black all around the inside. And then just where Penelope stood, we've got a bit of shadow. Now, I could smudge the black with my finger, but I'm liable to get it all over. So I just use a biodegradable cotton bud. And as I say, this will just fix this. But also, I want to make it look as though there's some mist in the cave. So if I just pick up a little bit of this pastel, I can just smudge it across. Just so it looks like we've got that nice mist. And while I've got it, I'm just going to add some under the little pumpkin here. So again, that just grounds that. Maybe we'll just ground Penelope a little bit more. Now with your mist, if you want to, you've got a grey. You can always add a little bit of grey just in there. If you want to add another tone. And also don't forget you've got the white. So if you want to bring in some white, and that just adds to it. So again, you just blend. But I just think it's nice that in that cave, we've got this lovely mist going across. I mean, it could be, you could put the cauldron in there. We've got the lovely cauldron. We've got the bubbles. And I'm just going to add a little bit of shadowing in here, just to make it look, again, a little bit more detail. And it's just nice to add these little finishing touches. It's amazing the difference that they can make. Just going to wipe my fingers. Now, on the spider's web, I wanted to make it glisten a little bit. So I got my jelly roll, and this is an iridescent one. And again, I found it was best to do this after I'd done my pastel. And if I just go along the cobweb, just to add that lovely sparkle. Well, I say lovely sparkle. As I say, I know a lot of you don't like spiders and you don't like cobwebs. But it's a cave, so we've got some. Like I say, I think I should have added the little bats as well. Maybe we'll just put a little bit, but it's just catching her hat. And with my white gel pen, I'm just going to add a few little highlights. I know we've got the pastel, but I like to use the two together. And on our lovely pumpkin, just before we add him, we'll add a little bit to his eyes. So, bippity boppity glue. Now it might be if you've got the dragons. The dragons would look nice with, if you need to make a card for a male friend, All Hallows Eve, or somebody who likes dragons, maybe you could add the dragon across with the flames. I mean, again, we've got so many. Right, I'm just going to give this a blow, just because I had some stray pastel there. I don't want to smudge it, so a quick blow. And then a couple of finishing touches. I want to add some yellow sparkly splatters just in the middle. So again, my lovely sparkly Posca. Now I just want to check. So a little tip here, look, I bought a new one because this one's nearly run out, but I always keep it, I don't know about you, till it really gets to the end, but it tends not to sparkle well. It doesn't do good splatters, but I can pump it and then paint with it. So I've got a new one and I've written new on it. And I know you're going to say, what when I get another new one? That'll have to be the new one. So just going to add these lovely, now these could be orb splatters, just magical orbs inside the cave. And then last of all, let's go for a lovely sentiment. Now, I think I'm going to use the same as I put on my original Time to Create, because I think Penelope is going to create something amazing in here. So we'll pop that up here. So again, I'm just going to use my scissors. Is that straight? I can hear you telling me, Jo, it's not straight. Right, there we go. That's better. And I think that just looks... It's amazing how it looks quite 3D, doesn't it? It doesn't look as flat as it is. So I'm hoping that's given you a couple of ideas of what you can do to enter the lovely Lavinia challenge. Now, I bet your head is whizzing with different ideas. Flames. What else could be used with the flames? Like I say, dragons. Have you got the dragon stamps? Maybe have a look. Maybe you've got some stamps you haven't used for a while. Maybe in here you want to put that cauldron with the bubbles. Maybe some potions. Some potion bottles hanging. I know you. You are going to come up with so many ideas. So I hope you'll have a play. Remember to post. It's so nice if you put your lovely designs in our groups, Lavinia for You and Reach Out with Lavinia. That would be lovely. I'd love to see what you create. So you take care enjoy your evening, and I'll see you again soon. Love and hugs from me. Bye for now.